Meeting to order. Please rise, remove your cover, and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Sherry?
Here.
Joe?
Here.
Gary?
Here.
Don?
Here.
Dan?
Here. Any of the commissioners have any reason to abstain for a financial or non-financial conflict of interest at this time?
No.
No. Next item on the agenda is the approval of the agenda. Are there any additions or corrections at this time?
Move approval.
Second.
Motion and a second. Is there further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. Next item on the agenda, item number 5, public comments.
It's just the second one.
Okay. Jerry Weber.
For this.
Actually, I was the second one.
Oh, you were the second one, I'm sorry.
I don't know who that, what does that say? Craig, is that you, Craig? Oh, okay. Craig Ernster, come on up, sir. So it's Craig, even though Taurus is. Welcome, sir.
Thanks. Okay, guys. I'm Craig Ernster, River Rat Productions. Just here for public comment to clarify so we don't have conspiracy and everything that's been going on. But on May 7th, we had, at the end of the meeting, my camera glitched. The recording media, which is on, was corrupted. And we lost the entire meeting, except for the last 3 minutes of it. So, in other words, there was no way to recover it. So, you guys are all aware of it at that time. I discovered it at the moment when I stopped recording. There was it just wouldn't stop recording. And so when I rebooted the computer, or the camera as we call it, it didn't look like it was going to be able to be used. I took it home on the computer. It was totally corrupted. We later found out from the manufacturer they do have a small corruption rate. So we got new ones, and we're going to start next time. We'll start running 2 cameras just to play it safe for a while until we know we're good. But the media itself has a very high non-failure rate. We're talking like 8% failure. So we hit that 8%. So that's all I wanted to let you guys know about it. You know, I'm sorry it happened, but in the 15 years, this is the first meeting we've ever lost. So it happens, you know. But that's all I got to let you know about, okay?
All right.
Thank you.
Craig.
Yep.
All right. Next item on the agenda, approved to add infertility coverage with health insurance renewal with Wellmark. Julie, would you care to address this one?
Sure. This health insurance thing just doesn't end, does it? Okay. Had an employee ask about infertility benefits. It was listed as non-coverage. Wanted to make sure that was the case with the new plan, and it is not listed as being covered, but Blue Cross Blue Shield, Wellmark Blue Cross Blue Shield would add the coverage at no additional charge in premium to the county. It is something you can add and remove. And so since you have a demand or you have someone asking about it in the county, it may not be a bad idea. Had a discussion with Rob about it. And it is a change. It is an addition, but it is not a cost addition to you at this time. Any questions?
So to be perfectly clear, this will cost the county no additional funds?
No additional premiums, correct.
Okay.
Your plan that I've presented, and we've mulled over, it will not change,
Okay.
other than this addition.
Did you have anything you wanted to state on this, Rob? So, any question?
When we renew it next year, it'll be renewed at no additional cost.
Well, it's like anything else, Don. If you have someone, if it is If it becomes something that is utilization of high dollars, then of course it's like everything else, it'll affect your rates. But this alone, I could not imagine it, because I covered that with them. I said, could this alone affect their rates? And they said, in comparison to the previous year, more than likely not.
Thank you.
But if it, we did make some change, just to put this in a perspective. We went from a 4-tier to a 2-tier. That helped your rates. In some cases, it would cost some people more money. In other cases, it saved money. We changed up the formulary on the drug plan. You can make these changes to your plan throughout the year. It's just up to your agent to bring it to your attention. So if this is something that is affecting your rates significantly, I'll bring it to your attention. Does that sound fair?
Sounds good.
Okay.
I know-
Sorry, Julie, what you're saying is, if it becomes an issue, then it can be removed from the policy in the future, which then in effect would not change our rates. This year, it's not gonna change our rates, and if we have an individual who's interested in it, whatever happens, and if they utilize it, it isn't gonna affect us, but if multiple people, maybe, if that's an issue, then we would withdraw it and not allow that in the future, right? We could take away that
Correct.
added.
Correct.
Insurance.
Correct.
Are there any other questions for Julie? I know we had somebody from the audience wanted to comment on this, so. Jerry, did you want to make a comment on this at this?
Yeah.
I'd ask you to please come up and state your name so we can get it on the record, if you would, please. Yes, sir. Please introduce yourself.
Jerry Weber, county employee with the ambulance division. And I guess what Julie brought up sort of touched a couple of different concerns that I have. And one of them is that this just sounds kind of expensive for something to add in a really short notice. I do know that fertility coverage is listed as a covered expense for the HSA that we've been offered this year. So a person can save up to $3,500 per year to apply to those kind of expenses. Insurance is expensive, it's complicated. Deductibles have increased this year. Co-insurance is I think the same, but premiums have increased. And I happen to be one of those people that is affected by the change in the tiers because I'm a married individual, so I have a head coverage for employee plus spouse. That's gone away. And so my premiums this year have gone up over 50%. So I feel like it would be prudent to see how it goes with the HSA. Let people utilize that for the first year or two, see how it goes. Avoid any surprises at the end of the year when expenses could be really, really increased. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I got a question. You have a ballpark, say I'm an employee and I want to do this, what that would cost me if it wasn't covered?
I've never been in that situation,
Okay.
so I can't answer that question. I would, from what I have been, and this is just what I've been told, this is my strictly, anywhere between 20 and 40,000. So the same as, a shoulder surgery.
Right, right.
But if it's not covered, it can be quite a bit out of someone's pocket.
If someone wanted to use the HSA, when can they sign up for that?
By May 14th. It's this week.
Okay.
And so that's why I need to have an answer by 4 o'clock today, so I can call Wellmark and say, we're going to go with this or we're not, because they're holding off on printing your contracts.
For what Jerry mentioned, if somebody wanted to use their would only that $3,500 that they saved that be able to go toward that? How would that
I think
work?
that's the confusion, is the HSA does have fertility coverage right now. We would be talking about the $4,000, so it would open it up to all the employees. If they wanted to use the $4,000 deductible plan with the 63, I can't even remember, 6350 max out of pocket, it would open it up to have it available to that plan. So it basically you already have it. It's just we're opening it up to both plans. Okay?
Any other questions for Julie? So if this does become something that'll significantly raise our rates, you can let us know throughout the year, and we can choose at that time to cancel it.
Exactly.
But as of right now, there's no additional charge to the county?
No.
If that's something that's going to happen, you will let us know?
Correct,
Okay.
correct. You know, health insurance, unfortunately, it's like Jell-O. You can't pin it down. I mean, it changes every year. The regulations change. So anytime that there's a cost-saving measure or, you know, that kind of thing, I will bring it to your attention, and then you can make a decision. Kind of like Sherry and I met, and we discussed all the options. And, you know, it's a huge benefit to your employees, but it's also a cost to the county. So we're going to try and utilize the county's use of the tax dollars as best we can. And at the same time, you want to keep your employees happy. So.
Other questions? So I'd entertain a motion. Any other comments from the audience on this? Entertain a motion.
I move to approve the addition of infertility coverage with health insurance renewal for Blue Cross Blue Shield.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there further discussion? I guess for further discussion, I'd just like to say that I think this is an opportunity for us to take care of our county employees at no additional cost to the taxpayer. And so I would appreciate what you've done, Mrs. Elk, to save tax dollars and offer the best health insurance that we can to our employees. So I have a motion and a second. Is there further discussion?
Yeah, can I get one more question? What was our total expenditures last year? Do you ballpark off the top of your head?
to come forward?
If, sorry, I should have asked you before.
What were the total expenses? What were
What were covered?
covered? I don't have the exact amount, but I mean, what were the total expenses for the county? What Blue Cross Blue Shield paid was about approximately, I don't have the exact number, about 2.4 million. Okay.
Thank you.
I can send that to you, Joe, if you want to see it. Okay, I have them. I just don't have, I'm sorry, I don't have it with me.
I'm looking at more.
Sherry, maybe you have.
It was in your packet.
Yeah.
We just don't have them in front of us,
Yes.
so.
I have a
But you're-
motion and a second. Is there further discussion? Gary, did you have something?
I just want to make a comment.
Okay.
I said this once before, but I've never seen a more dedicated insurance person than you. I've dealt with a lot of insurance people.
Well, I care about
I'm
your
impressed.
employees. I care about your employees.
I'm really
And they
impressed.
call me, so I hear their concerns, and so I care about them.
Thanks.
Okay? You bet.
Have a motion and a second. Is there further discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Sherry,
Aye.
Joe,
Yes.
Gary,
Yes.
Don,
Yes.
and Dan.
Yes, motion pass. Next item on the agenda, item number 7, approve to hire a temporary office worker. Sherry, did you want to?
I didn't know that was going to be on the agenda, so.
It was the same situation you had set up with the services for last time. Brian this is really to help the zoning and planning office get an extra person in there and help them out. And we didn't have it on time last Tuesday to get it on, so we added it to this agenda. So
Okay.
what you set up was with job service, correct?
All I simply did was make a phone call to see
Okay.
if we had access to a temporary
Okay.
employee. And if we feel that's the right thing to do, we do have access to it. But my understanding is we've been working with the treasurer's office to borrow a person. And what
Sure.
is the status on that?
That's happening. I think this is an option, whereas if they're not able to do that, then we have the ability to put somebody in there temporary to help with mailings and things of that nature, so.
Okay.
Well, I want to thank the treasurer's office for cooperating
Yep.
and working to serve the customer. But I've had a lot of people that have contacted me and said, you know, they aren't able to get into the office, or, you know, if it's noted that he'll be here at 2 to 6, he most likely always is, but they miss the time by a few minutes or something. And I would say if we had a temporary person that could provide do some of the processes and assist, it would be worth the effort and money to get them on board.
So to tee off that, the information I received was we set a base pay, say it's $10, and they mark it up 40%. So we would pay this company $14 for every hour they worked. The county is not responsible for FICA, health insurance, or anything. We have $14 an hour. So that kind of gives you an idea of the cost of what if we do want to hire a temporary employee, what it would be for the county. And the gentleman thought that they could find somebody to meet our needs to do clerical type work.
At
Certainly
that
aren't-
$10.
Well,
or-
they said we needed to set the pay.
Okay.
I had one phone call with him, and then, since I didn't make the agenda, I didn't have him go through the effort of getting everything prepared. But if, as a commission, we approve it, I can certainly give the gentleman a call back and see if he has an estimate. So it might be, I mean, minimum is $9-something, $9.41 or whatever. So I'm assuming $12 or $14 is where we need to start.
I would think so.
Rob, do we need to have a salary for that, or set a dollar amount or a time for?
I would say something.
Maybe a not to exceed or something.
We could put a number not to exceed a dollar amount, and then if we need to renew it, we need to renew it. Would that work? Not to exceed?
Yeah, but considering we haven't anybody in full-time, I'm guesstimating if we go down this path, it's going to be 48 weeks.
I think we need,
The time doesn't bother me, the money doesn't bother me. It's if we hire them and they aren't able to do anything but set up there. I'd like to see them be able to do something.
yep. I think even answering phones and taking down
Yep.
names goes a long way.
Oh, absolutely,
Just
they
to-
would be qualified to do that, they're
Yeah.
pre-screened. We would not do any of the interviewing on that matter. We'd say, this is what we need done, they find somebody, and they felt that they could have somebody within 5 to 7 days.
And Joe and I are doing interviews for planning and zoning positions tomorrow, so we're hoping we can get somebody in there soon. So we want to set a dollar amount for this? That's what you'd recommend, set a dollar amount?
I would think we need to be in that $12.
Or do we need so much per hour, or we're going to allocate this much money to go to a, $10,000?
Either whatever,
Yeah.
probably either way, I'd probably.
Yeah. Do you want to just do a dollar amount that will
Well, I'd
allocate
probably
this
say
much?
like, $12, $14, whatever. An hourly rate, 35 hours a week for,
Might be better to
so many weeks.
set a dollar amount instead of dollar an hour if you don't find anybody for $10 an hour. Or if somebody says, you set it at 10 and somebody says, well, I won't do it for 10, but I'll do it for 12, then we'd have to come back here again. So if we set it at whatever, a dollar amount, not to exceed that amount, I think maybe that would be better.
Will it be a 4 or 5 day
I
week?
don't know.
Well, that's the other thing. I mean, I think we need to set, if we say it's $14 is as high as we want to theoretically go, that's $19.60 with the 40% markup. So if we want to go not to exceed $20 an hour, that gives you the about $10 to $14 in there to find someone. And then I would also say not to exceed 30 hours a week or 40 hours a week or whatever.
Okay, could do that.
And I don't know if we need to have an end date. So until, maybe we could just tag on until the office is staffed to where we don't need them anymore. So those are the three things I guess I would, if you're going to make a motion, include the maximum not to exceed, the hours you want worked, and then kind of the open-ended until it's filled.
Anyone from the public care to comment on this? you want to come on up? I'll give you 3 minutes. Welcome, state your name for the record.
Jeff Goodall, Yankton. I spoke to Joe, and I spoke to Dan, I spoke to Rob, clear back, when all this was going, and I said I would volunteer my basis to go on up, free of charge, and answer the phone, and I guess I basically got shut down. I guess if you guys want to pay the money, that the county really don't have, that's up to you guys. But I did talk to you guys, about, I was be willing to volunteer to help Brian out. I'm retired and I don't do nothing, but that's up to you guys.
Thank you. Rob, is there any liability of having somebody who's not an employee in the office if they get injured or something like that?
There is, Dan, but there are forms.
Okay.
You sign, you can have a volunteer sign.
Okay, all right. Okay, all right, thanks. Is there anybody else who'd like to make a public comment on this? All right, I'll go ahead and go back to the commission.
Question back, right?
Did you have a question? Come on up, Fred.
I was on my way to Hardscape, so I stopped anyhow.
I didn't recognize you with your cap down over your face.
You look so
That was the
relaxed.
intent. To the point. What, I guess, we talked about this numerous times. Answering the phones, Don, I don't know where, I'm usually there well past 5, so I've had people walk in at 7 o'clock at night because the doors were open for another meeting. Scared the heck out of me, but, I try to get there. Mornings, they might be waiting there since 8:30, and I'm not there till 9:30 because I got hung up, but I try to get to them eventually. Now, they may wait, there were 7 deep the other day, but we try to get to them as fast as I can. That's where the hang-up comes. Answering phones, it might help, but basically I'm either getting a voicemail or a handwritten note. Really what helps is running packets, making copies, doing things like that. That's true administrative type, clerical type work is where I get bungled up. So if you want someone there 5 days a week to pay them, to have someone come in and them to hand them a packet, then I can generate, I hope to do that, get good packets together, but I don't know when I have time to get packets together soon. Maybe next week, if the wave stops, I can get a good building, there isn't one. A good building permit packet does not exist currently that I can have someone hand out, here's a good drainage packet, here's a good building permit packet, and that'd be great. For those who don't download it online, and would you please, and instruct someone to say, here, fill this out, if you have a question, do this, and then when I come into the office and I can correct them if they hand them in and go from there. That would be great. I'd love face-to-face customer service. To sit there, as you said, and do nothing, you certainly don't want to pay that. And I don't know where that balance is, and that's why I've had a hard time answering. But on just keeping track of agenda items and there on copy days, and that's where I said, the treasurer's office helped on copies and things like that when it comes to those days. I don't know if it'd be honestly a good investment to have someone there 5 days a week unless you feel that you're dropping down on customer service. It's not a perfect scenario, there's no doubt about it. But to get someone trained up there independently, and I certainly don't know everything, but operating independent without me there or someone there who's more in knowledge to help them, other than answering the phone and trying to write down what they want and then convey it to me, is the schoolyard game of telephone, what's going to get lost in translation. short of me calling them back and trying to do that. And most of my callbacks take place between 6 and 8 to 9 o'clock at night, unless it's a business, then they're not there anymore.
I want you to understand, I had no doubt that you were working a lot of hours over past 5 o'clock or past your hours that you talked about.
No, I feel bad if I miss
And
someone. I don't want to do that.
I told the people that there's just a lot of business going on right now.
And I certainly don't want someone to come up and not be able to get because that's more frustrating, not to be able to get an answer. And I don't want to put someone in that situation to where they're helpless either.
I think this is, just the reason I guess I think it's a good idea to hire somebody is we know how hard you're working for the county, and we want to take some of that burden off of you and give you the resources you need so you're not working later than you should be. And we're doing a great job, and we're trying to get you what you need to help. That's kind of what my thought is.
I am all for that, so I'm not down bothering Karen.
Sure.
Patty, Valley,
Yeah.
Patty, or whomever for help, running around like a chicken with its head cut off some days trying to get someone to
Yeah.
print labels. And
Yeah.
there's just duties I don't do, or nor have I
Yep.
ever done, nor have I done for 30 years.
Yep.
But I can honestly say, I don't know if it'll do any good. I have a pretty set schedule, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then I'll blow in here on Tuesdays. This week is bad. I'm sorry, I have a lot of things to do, and I planned on being done on April 30th, and, well, that didn't happen, so unfortunately for all of you, things didn't happen for all of you. Applicants didn't come in and such, so we'll make it work.
Got a suggestion, maybe a different approach from not hiring somebody that, like you said, isn't in the loop and doesn't know what you're doing. We give you a little more extra money.
You know what?
Give you a little extra money for all your trouble.
Let's just make one thing very clear. I'm not getting any money, all
Okay.
right? I'm getting my same old District 3 salary. So I do what I do, and that's it. I enjoy it. I like helping people, so that's good. But there's only so much of me to go around.
Could we approve?
I have you, I have my boss, the District 3 Board, the Yankton County Commission, and my wife. And right now, my wife and my teenage graduating daughter has priority. So that's this week. After that, that's done, and we'll go back. I'll be here Wednesday all day. I will be here early tomorrow afternoon to come get prepped for the Planning Commission meeting. And then Thursday, I'll be off from here, and Friday I'll be off, but then I'll plan on, well, there is that contract issue when it needs to be resolved. But I'm just trying to say is, yes, I need the help. I'm not turning it down. I don't know if it's a good use of county resources to have someone sitting there Monday through Friday
Sure.
alone, just
Somebody that
sitting,
doesn't have the knowledge of
Yeah.
which permits to pull, what,
which
they
doesn't
would just
exist
be taking a message anyway, right? Now, if
at best, and
Yeah.
not. I could get someone trained, and easily. I've trained probably 30 zoning administrators over my career to do all that, and that's very simple. And I'm a phone call away at some point. All my other counties, that's the case. But right now, we're not in a situation to where I could get a temp, trained to do that in 5 days. Now, if I was, if I'm in the office and we're doing things and, those days be double efficient, I could certainly have her help build those packets, do the things, pull the agendas, get the stuff. And there's things that I feel bad are falling down. There's reports for Mark Mooney at First Dakota Bank likes to put market analysis or something that I just haven't been able to build those spreadsheets on building permit comparisons back and forth. I'd like to get to them, but that's a priority versus 6 people outside my office. Those are the priority right now. Those type of things, but I need to be there to walk someone through that versus letting them sit. And that's my only thoughts on this is.
Sure. Well, we could hire somebody and they could just work with your schedule too, so you have an extra set of hands when you're there, whether that's 3 days a week or whatnot. I think by approving this, that would allow you, kind of what you're saying, is the person to assist you while you're there, and you can, we could give it a couple weeks, and you could let us know how it works out, if you need somebody there more or less, and really, this person is to help you out, so, and we could get your feedback on that, if that's how you'd want to do it.
I would say, in my personal opinion, and the way it's working up there, I think that's the benefit of the temp service, is you don't have to extend yourselves through the hiring process. You can pick up the phone and say, here's the qualities, somewhat we want. A good, lack of a better term, whether it's dated or not, a good old school secretary that could type. Because me typing illegal, that is a painful process to watch. Letters of notifications, things like that for drainage permits. Not a pretty sight.
Alrighty.
And work of the days I work for, or we just set them and I can work my schedule to match.
Sure.
And I don't know how much flexibility, if you have to guarantee them hours, I don't, those are things to pursue, but I really don't think it'd be a good idea to have. And then I think you're covered by their liability and they take care of all that other stuff, and then you don't have to worry about that external issues and such of benefits and indirect costs and all the other things associated with an employee. That's how I would suggest you look at it, but for what it's worth.
So you're in favor or not in favor?
Oh,
I
I'm
guess?
definitely in
Okay.
favor. I
Alright.
just would have I honestly would have felt guilty if you hired someone 9 to 5, 5 days a week, and I would feel guilty if I'd come in and they'd be sitting there and not doing anything, and it was my I'd feel responsible for that, saying I need help, and they had nothing to do, and they were getting paid.
Rob, we could say up to so many hours per week, and then if later, we could go less than that. We could say 40 hours, and if you're going to be working 20, they could work the 20 hours you're there. We could go less than that.
Could we leave it up to his discretion?
Yeah, I think, we could leave it up to, this person would be working for Brian, trying to make his life,
So essentially, you're
Working
doing.
for the zoning office.
Working for the
Working
zoning.
for the Yankton County for
Sure.
the zoning office.
So essentially,
Rather than working for Brian.
you're doing Monday, Wednesday, Friday.
Essentially, except on, hopefully we're done with special meetings for a while, but, except for meeting days, Drainage Commission, Planning Commission, and sometimes County Commission if I have items, except for some Tuesdays.
Okay.
Yes, it would be.
Because if I'm the one, if we do choose temporary, I'm the one who's got to call and set this up, because I started it, and I want to be very clear what the expectation is. So if someone's expecting to work 40 hours and we end up working 20, that's going to be a problem on our part, because we didn't plan well. So I guess that's what I'm trying to clarify is, are we looking, if we can get someone Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and that's it, would that be enough? Or is it going to be every Tuesday afternoon as well? Because you usually have at least 2 Tuesday meetings in a month. You see where I'm going with this is, I want to maximize the person and maximize the benefit to you.
Right, and then looking at that employee, I'm thinking some of them are temp for a reason, because they may have children, they may have school schedules.
Exactly.
They may have.
Exactly,
So
and
we
some
need
of
to
them
give 'em a
might
day,
be
too.
retired folks who are just looking to pick up a few extra dollars. I don't know. I'm guessing there.
So I would say 9 to 5. So, and then they require lunch hours, I suppose, so 7 hours a day is 321 plus a Tuesday every other, so $25 hours a week, probably.
Okay.
On average, I think we could certainly fill that. That's not a problem.
Okay.
Nothing, and then I'm assuming no evenings, I don't know what the
Probably,
rules are. I think
yeah.
that's just safe to assume.
I would guess that's probably safe to assume, especially in the summer,
Right.
spring.
You got something
Standard
there?
office hours.
Did you have
I
something?
just had one question. One time when I was manager of a company, I hired from a temporary service, and the gal showed up and just great. One day, somebody else shows up in her place, and I said, where's Diane? And, oh, well, they put her at a different location, and I'm here now for the next 3 days. She'll be back next week. Now I got to train you. So I hope we don't get anything like that.
Not sure we have that deep a pool here, probably, is a smaller community, but maybe, because that's kind of, this is just what, AS or something coming out of Yankton?
Yeah, it
Whatever the
begins with
name
an
is.
A, Advanced Services or something like
Yeah.
that.
I would assume we stay, I've never used one, but here.
Okay.
So I'd say, yeah, whatever I just said for hours, I think we could make that work.
Okay.
And I do not like hiring employees or bringing on interns or anything over my history unless I know I can keep them busy. I don't like wasting taxpayers' money. Or mine.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Sorry to
for
interrupt.
Brian? No,
You're good.
no,
Thank you.
we
That's very
appreciate your
helpful.
input, Brian. So, anybody else like to make a comment?
Landscaping done.
No,
Alrighty.
just quit sanding, now
Yeah,
landscaping.
I was kind of like Don. I looked at you back there and I didn't know who you were. And you sure you weren't a undercover FBI in your former life, or no?
All right, well, back to the commission. I think it's pretty clear we need some help in that office, so,
So, how many applicants do we have for the job, and how close do we think we are to hiring somebody? Because that, to me, that ties into this issue.
Right.
what are we doing, 3 interviews tomorrow? 3 interviews tomorrow, and their initial interviews. I don't think we can really say until we sit down with these individuals and,
Sure.
gauge them. I hope all 3 are highly qualified and we have a tough choice to make, but I can't say. Tomorrow at this time, I'll have a better answer for you.
You know, we've been kind of holding off on the deputy position as well. The thought being, if we can get this economic development position filled, let them hire the deputy, since they'll be training and working with them. If the interviews don't look promising, we may want to look harder at just getting that deputy position filled. And then maybe Brian can work on training them as you're in there anyway. So hopefully we can expedite it, but.
Yeah. I think it's important we get the right person in that position too, and, not just
Well, I'll tell you,
fill
we
it to
haven't
fill it.
had
so-
many people from a planning office apply.
If they're going to work with Brian, can he be in with the interview, or is that not feasible? I mean,
If you'd want to, Brian.
would you like to be in with the interview for the person? I mean, you're the one that's going to have to work with them.
Do you interview for AS temporary, or they just send you something?
No, we're
No.
talking the.
I'm not sure what question.
Well,
Gary, are you talking there's no interview for the temporary, they just show up? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Are you talking, yeah, there's no interview, they'll
Yeah,
show
they-
up and they say, I'm here.
okay,
So they'll send us somebody who we hope is qualified.
okay.
Right, well,
I guess for me, it comes down to if we have an idea of where the help is needed. We have 2 options. We have temporary, we have what the treasurer has offered, is to have someone come up and sit there, and would that person serve Monday, Wednesday, Friday versus a temporary person? And then if that is the avenue, are they willing to do it for 4 to 8 weeks? So that's the decision I see here, is we have identified a need. We need somebody. Where is that somebody coming? Temporary or the treasurer's office? She's kindly offered one of her staff members. How long that would be able to occur, I didn't talk to her directly, but before we approve an expenditure, I think that we need to fully vet out that option, and if that can start on Wednesday, that's great. We already have someone who's in our building, they know the system, and they know how the copy machines work and the phones work and everything like that. So I think before we go ahead and approve this expenditure, we need to fully vet out that that is not the best avenue.
And I've had, discussions with the treasurer, and she has offered one of our employees or a couple to be able to help. And I don't have the details, but now that we have more, information on exactly what we need, I think that would be the first option. Obviously, we're paying that employee already, if they have time available. If not, I think we do need to make sure somebody's in that office to help, bottom line. So whatever avenue we take is I guess depending on, or I'd like to have another conversation with her. I wouldn't have a problem approving this as long as it's under the understanding that we talked with her first.
Yeah. I like your idea, Joe, about somebody from the treasurer's office, because even if we had to pay overtime for that person, that's still cheaper than hiring a new employee.
I don't know about that, and I get it, the treasurer's very kind, loaning us an employee, but for how long?
Well,
That's gonna that employee has a huge workload at that office anyway, and the longer they're taken out of that job, the more their work's gonna pile up, and so it's a temporary
I'm just saying,
solution.
if you got into overtime
Sure.
for them, that's still cheaper than hiring somebody.
Sure, I understand what you're saying. I don't know, I guess I agree with Joe, is we could approve this, and if we don't need it, we don't fill it. But if we do need it, then it's available. So, guess I'd entertain a motion.
I will try. Okay, so before I make the motion, I think we need to think about $15 an hour is our maximum, and that puts it at $21 with the 40% markup.
Okay.
Certainly not saying we are going to end there, but that gives you a little bit of leeway.
Sure.
I'm trying to think how to word it. So give me a second here. Depended on availability of the treasurer's office, I move to approve a temporary employee at a maximum cost of $21 per hour, which is based on a $15 per hour work rate for 25 hours per week until the office is deemed staffed and services are no longer needed.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there further discussion?
But I'd just say, I don't feel like I'm in a position to do much discussion, because I haven't been brought up to speed on what anything is going on in that area. Know nothing, so I don't think I can weigh in on it.
Is there further discussion? All right, let's do a roll call vote.
Aye.
Joe,
Yes.
Gary,
No.
Don,
No.
Dan.
Yes, motion pass. All right, next item, item number 8, items for next meeting. Does anybody have anything?
What is that, Tuesday?
Yeah, next Tuesday, so, or not this Tuesday, next Tuesday. All right, entertain a motion to adjourn.
I move to adjourn.
Second.
Motion and a second. Is there further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. Thank you, everybody.